Welcome, my nerd family, to another episode of Games You Must, the podcast where we're talking about all things board games, video games, and a little bit of pop culture. On today's episode, we're continuing our top shelf or yard sale segments. We're going to be looking at Lost Ruins of Arnak, a fun game to play. Carly, what would you say? This game is a, 2 to 4 player game? Or I forgot the player count for this game.
Yes, yeah, it's a 2 to 4 player game. Yeah.
Okay, two to 4 player game. Very adventurous type of theming game. You get to pretty much be Indiana Jones in this board game, and I'm already hooked with that one. But we're gonna see if this game is worthy to be on your guys' top shelf, or unfortunately, if it will belong in your neighbor's weekly yard sale. Which, as board gamers, we're like, oh, that just hurts. That just hurts us. So I'm very excited about that, and I'm very, very excited, guys, to have Carly from the Board Game Buzz. Carly, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you here on our humble little podcast here. You're a busy woman. You've got great content going on. You've been all over the place. You just got back from PAX.
Oh my goodness, no, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm honored to be invited onto this amazing podcast. I'm so stoked to be here and talk about this amazing game that I love.
Carly, you're going to be driving it here for this episode. And yeah, we're going to get to know her a little bit more about her origins of her channel, the Board Game Buzz. And of course, we'll leave links on our descriptions below so you can find her. Give her a follow, guys. Follow her everywhere. I'm sure you're on Instagram, YouTube.
I'm on Instagram, YouTube. I just barely started on TikTok, but I don't know if that's gonna go anywhere. So
you never know.
Mainly Instagram.
Mainly Instagram, yeah. So guys, give her a follow if you haven't already. Please do. She's got some great content, especially if you're looking into board game reviews. She does all of that stuff. So and her word is golden. So go ahead and follow her for sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. So without further ado, guys, pull up a chair, grab some dice, y acompáñame a jugar. Thank you so much for joining us here on this wonderful evening, I guess. Yeah, it's evening time where you're at. Same here. But I'm very excited to talk about Lost Ruins of Arnak. But before we get into that, we're going to get to I'd like to say famous, but they're not famous. Nobody knows about these. But here on our podcast, our famous icebreaker questions, where we're going to ask our first-time guests 2 questions. So it's a 2-parter question. Feel free if you can't answer any of the parts because you're not familiar with. No worries, we'll continue on with that, and we'll move on from there. But we like to ask all our first-time guests 2 questions, and the first part of the question is going to be a toughie, but I think you got this one. And the first one is, what is your favorite board game of all time? Now, as a tabletop nerd, you understand when I say board game, I'm including dice games, card games, all type of those tabletops. Yeah. Now, if you can't narrow it down to one, I always give the option of top 3. If you want to give a top 3 selection of games that you've enjoyed, childhood games, or games that you've been playing, the whole world's your oyster of what you want to add on there. And so, so that's the first part of the question. Second part of the question is, we are also a very nerdy podcast here, so we like to know about video games. And so we want to know, what is your favorite video game of all time? Now, if you're not much of a gamer, if you feel like you've only played a couple games, you can include those as well. And when I say video games as well, I'm including computer games, like console games, Xbox, or even can include any arcade games. As a kid, maybe you like going to an arcade and playing a certain video game that you went there. So I'll include that. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first question. Carly, if you want to let us know, what is Carly's favorite board game of all time? Or board games, if we're going top 3.
Yeah, okay, so this is such a hard question. Obviously, as a board gamer, I'm constantly playing new games, playing old games, getting introduced to games that I haven't played. But having said all of that, I mean, even though it is hard, my heart will always be with Lost Ruins of Arnak.
Lost Ruins of Arnak? Okay.
Well, I assume one of these days something will bump it out of my favorite game of all time. But as of right now, this is my favorite game. I just absolutely adore this game. It's so well designed and just, it's perfect in my eyes.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. I'm the same way with Betrayal, House on the Hill. That's my all-time favorite game.
That's your favorite.
That's my all-time, and then it's I'm always looking for the one that comes close, and I'm just nah, never mind. I'll just go. Yeah. I always fall back. I always fall back to Betrayal on the House on the Hill. Is there maybe a runner-up, maybe a close second that you might put up there with it, or just Lost Ruins is just taking your heart?
I think Lost Ruins has just taken my heart. I mean, I have a million games that I would consider tied for second, or my top 3. I know Wonderland's War. I adore Wonderland's War. I adore. There's just so many. It is
No, for sure.
so hard to pick, but definitely Wonderland's War would be up there.
Okay.
Dwellings of Elderville would be up there.
Oh,
Honeybuzz. There's just so many. There's so many
there's
games.
so
There's so
many.
many
Yeah,
great
yeah.
ones.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. I appreciate. Yeah, no, but yeah, Lost Ruins of Arnak is such a fun game, and oddly enough, we're gonna be talking about it. So hey, there it is.
Oddly enough, I know.
Wow, it's like we planned this or something, you know?
It's like
It's like okay. So Lost Ruins of Arnak is number one with a couple close seconds there. Great choice here. I'm curious to hear about any video game buzz you got going around for you that's kind of
yes.
captured your heart.
So board games, it's really hard for me to pick number one. But for
Right.
video games, like I clearly have a number one. Just no
Okay.
contest. My favorite video game of all time has been and always will be probably Skyrim. I love Skyrim. I
Oh,
could play
okay.
that for hours and hours and hours. I love the open nature. I love being able to like yeah, just like you decide your fate kind of. You pick your
Mm-hmm.
destiny and you can dive into it in so many different ways and uncover parts of the story. Like I just adore Skyrim and the whole world.
Excellent choice. Yeah, I love Skyrim. I can always go back to Skyrim and just enjoy a blissful walk around Skyrim and just
I
enjoying all
know,
the. It's
it's
just like
just so good.
it is. Have you tried the board game? The I think it's like recently came out.
Yeah, so there's a handful of different ones.
Okay, yeah.
I'm actually really looking forward to Betrayal of a Second. I think it's Betrayal of a Second Air. I think that's what it's called from
Hmm.
Chip Theory Games. That's coming out soon.
Okay.
If not, it might already be out. No, I think it's still coming out. So that's the one that I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully I'll be able to try that when it comes out.
Very, very good choice. Excellent choice. I mean, yeah, I've spent hours on Skyrim. If you look at my Steam account, it's like so many hours. It's it's
I
it's
know.
Planet Coaster and then like Skyrim for me because like
And
I
then
have
Skyrim, yeah.
yeah because like I just love playing Skyrim and I like mod the crap out of it like making
Oh, me too. Yeah.
yeah, I
That's why
crashed
you
my game.
have to do it. You
Yeah,
have to
exactly.
mod.
You have to. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Vanilla's cool, but like once you get the mods in, it's just like a whole new ball
That is
game.
so a
Yeah,
whole
exactly.
different world.
Many times I've crashed my computers because I've had so many mods on there, and it's like Skyrim's like I can't handle these mods. I'm like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just want you to be great. You know. So okay, so Lost Ruins of Arnak and Skyrim. All right. So there you guys have it. First-hand account from Carly. That's her favorite board game and her favorite video game. Let us know in the comments below if you agree with that, or what is your favorite board game or video game. I always say that in every episode, and I'm always curious to hear you guys' comments on that. But yeah, so Carly, thank you so much for sharing that for favorite board game and favorite video game. We'll move on now to a little bit of get to know you a little bit, Carly. Before we get into Lost Ruins of Arnak, I want to know who is Carly. You know, you have an Instagram channel called Board Game Buzz. You got a YouTube channel going as well. We're talking about all things board games, reviewing board games from
Yeah.
the littlest box to the biggest, beefiest box ever. And I love the content. I love everything. But for anyone that's listening that's never heard of you, which is silly to think that they've never heard you, if you're in the board game community, you've never heard of Carly. What are you doing? What are you doing with your life? Go ahead and give her a follow right now. But for the very like 2% of you that are listening that have never heard of Carly, if you can let our viewers know, yeah, why Board Game Buzz? Why the creation of this channel and board gaming, bringing your hobby to life? So yeah, if you want to give us like your quick little spiel of Carly from Board Game Buzz.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was introduced to board games, I want to say 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. I kind of grew up like most people do, kind of, the basic games, Monopoly, like when you think of board games, you kind of think of the same three board games. And then we went over to a friend's house and they were like, hey, like, do you want to stay after? And because we'd had dinner that night and they're like,
Right.
would you like to stay after and play a game? And we're like, oh, sure. Like, what do you have? What games do you have? And they're like, oh, come and we'll show you. So they bring us down into this room and they open up the door and it's this room that's literally like floor to ceiling, just board games, right?
Wow.
And I remember I took a step in there and it like hit me. I was like, what the freak is this? Like, what did I just walk into? And I was just obsessed. And I just remember looking through all these games being like, what is this world? Like, how did I not know these existed? So I went home that night and I started looking on my computer and researching some of the names that I could kind of remember after looking on the shelves. And that's kind of when I found Board Game Geek and found various YouTubers, and I just got sucked into the deep hole of board games.
Yeah.
And so I kind of immediately became obsessed. I bought, actually, Arnak was the first game that I actually bought. And
Okay.
I sat down and I taught myself it for the very first time. It took me like
Wow.
a solid 3 nights to teach myself
Really?
that game.
Okay. Okay.
But I taught it, I learned it, I played it, and I just remember thinking, I need more, I want more. And so, yeah, I just got completely obsessed. And I just started collecting and buying board games. Then, fast forward a couple years, we ended up moving
Okay.
and we moved to Connecticut. And so we
Hmm.
found ourselves in Connecticut. We kind of left our game group behind. And I just remember feeling like I really like want to create, like, how cool would it be if I could create a community? And I'd always kind of been interested in the idea of content creation. I was a very amateur photographer for a little bit, and so
Hmm.
I feel like I kind of have a good eye of like what looks good or what could be good. So I was like, what if I just kind of start a channel, a way to connect with people because I'm out here on my own in Connecticut with me and my
Hmm.
family.
Hmm.
What if I was able just to create a community so I could still feel connected to board games and with other
Right.
people, even though I'm away from, my typical game group or whatnot.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's kind of where I started coming up with the idea of content creation, starting my own channel. I've always loved bumblebees. And so I was like, what if I do Board Game Buzz? That kind of works. And then I created a logo. And yeah, I just kind of started making reels and started kind of putting my humor or my spin on reels because I'd obviously followed a lot of content creators, but I felt like there was kind of a gap or something different that I could bring to the table that I didn't see other people bringing as much. And so, yeah, I just kind of started. I didn't know what I was doing. I just started doing it and started putting out my stuff. And I was just so honored when people really resonated with the content that I
Hmm.
was making and really enjoyed what I was doing. And then I was like, okay, if they're liking this, let's try to do a YouTube channel and try to
Hmm.
do this. And so, yeah, gradually it's just kind of snowballed a little bit into what it is today. And hopefully it'll keep continuing to snowball as I continue to have new ideas or whatnot. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of how it started, was me just
Okay.
really wanting to create a community that I could connect with, that I could share and talk about board games with.
Yeah, definitely. No, that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's I love the stories we hear where it's like you have friends that just introduce you to this whole world of board games, and I love that. I
Yeah.
love what you said where like your friend opened up this door and there's just this like this gateway of just this glorified room of all
Yes.
board games, and you're just like, what is this world that I'm stepping into? And
Yeah.
um, that's cool, and that's crazy that yeah, the Lost Ruins of Arnak was your first like your gateway game into the world of board gaming, which I think is gonna be awesome when we talk about like it because you can now like kind of like go back to like your memories of like as a beginner board gamer how you how like
Yes.
how Lost Ruins of Arnak would fall into and stuff like that, which is cool. And yeah, I love the origin story that you say about what with Board Game Buzz moving over to Connecticut. Is your husband like a big board gamer like you or more or is mainly you yourself?
Yeah, so my husband's definitely more into like video games, but he definitely does humor me, and he does enjoy board games.
Mhm.
I definitely am like more crazy about them than he
Right.
is,
Okay. Yeah.
but
For sure.
yeah, I'm definitely like the board gamer in the
Board game.
family.
But okay, that's cool. So you moved over to Connecticut. You started the account Board Game Buzz. I love the play on that, especially since you have you love bumblebees, and so and it's perfect. It's like the buzz. What's the buzz? What's the new buzz
I
game
know
on the game?
that was kind of like what I was playing off of, so I
Yep,
think it
super
worked out
clever.
good.
It worked out perfectly, and it was great. I'm so glad that you decided to pursue this and create this channel and give us new board gamers or any intermediate gamers that are looking for new games. You're one of my top channels that I follow. That I'm like, all right, what's the new game? What you got for me, Carly? What's the new game you got for me that I'm gonna go spend my wallet? So I'm very
Oh,
happy.
thank you.
My wallet hates you a lot because I'm going
I
off of them.
apologize. I formally apologize to your wallet. Only
Yeah,
a little bit though.
a
But
little bit. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you'll like it afterwards, But the joy that it'll bring me, that's what you care about. So very, very, very awesome. So there you guys have it. Again, go give a follow. You won't be sorry for the content that she follows. Give her a follow on YouTube as well. She posts a lot of vlog stuff that's very awesome. And I loved watching the pack stuff that you posted up on. It was awesome. And it made me sad because I'm like, man, I need to travel more and go go to PAX. But
next year,
I gotta
come with
plan.
us. Party.
I will definitely be there for sure next year. Gen Con and PAX are on my list for sure to go to as well because I need to make a trip over there. But now let's get into the meat of the podcast here. I'm very excited. We're going to be talking about Lost Ruins of Arnak here to decide if it is a top shelf or a yard sale game. Carly, before we get to the questions, do you want to give us like maybe like a quick 5 minute or like maybe less, just quick overview of what is Lost Ruins of Arnak for those that are listening that have never played this game? Yeah, if you want to let us know what the objective is or what the main theme of Lost Ruin of Arnak is. So go ahead, take it away.
Absolutely, yes. So, The Lost Ruins of Arnak is a worker placement and deck building game. And there's also resource management in it. So, you are going to be going out and exploring literally the island of Arnak in the hopes of finding the Lost Ruins of Arnak. And so, you're going to be going out, defeating monsters, collecting gems and precious resources. Also, you'll be advancing on research and kind of your knowledge on the island. And yeah, hopefully you are able to get everything you need to in order to really get those lost runes, which are really some really big end game points for
Okay.
you.
Awesome, cool. Yeah, so good. It's got a little bit of everything: worker placement, resource management, and adventure most of all.
Yes, adventure. Lots of that.
Yeah, super lots. I love it. And how many expansions? I think there's like a bunch of expansions that have come out
Yeah,
for
so
that game.
there's two currently
Two. Okay.
that
Okay.
yeah, I hope nobody corrects me. As far as
Yeah.
I'm aware, there's two currently, one
Yeah.
of which actually introduces leaders. So in the base game, you just play as like a color. But if you have the first expansion, you can actually play as an actual character, which gives you asymmetrical abilities and different powers that other people around the table don't have.
Okay.
So that one's really cool. And then the next expansion allows you to, it's kind of like a campaign. It kind of like leads you through different scenarios and stuff. So
Okay. Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I've only played this game maybe about like 3 times. And I've loved
okay.
every single minute of it. I mean, shout out to my boy Eric. Thank you so much for introducing me to that game. And he's got all the expansion. And he loves playing that game. That's like that and Spirit Island are like his top games. And so
Very good.
very great games. Eric, thank you so much for teaching me that. But let's go ahead and get with these questions. Again, we formulated 8 questions here for our top shelf and yard sale game. In order for this game to be a top shelf game, it's got to meet 6 of the 8 questions. And feel free to revise a question where like you feel like, oh, I mean, this is a good question, but maybe if we worded it this way, I added it. It's always ever evolving. I mean, when I first started this rubric, it had 8 solid questions, and now we've had a lot of guests that revamped the questionnaire, so like it's evolved, so it's not even the same how it was at the very beginning. But very excited to hear your questions. I'll let you drive it. You will be the final answer. If you're undecided, I'll go ahead and chime in and be like, maybe we should go with this. But you'll be the final say to see if this game is the top shelf or a yard sale game. So
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so very excited. So let's see if we can beat the 8 questions here. So first question. We'll start off with a little bit with a simple basic question here is this game easy to understand, able to understand, to learn? And remember, we're looking at it as if we're kind of a beginner, intermediate board gamer that's maybe owns like maybe Settlers of Catan or some Ticket to Ride, and they're
Yeah.
looking to move over. So if they were to buy this game and they were to look at the rules, is this something that they'll be able to understand reading the rules and be able to teach their gaming group, or is it something that it might be a little bit of difficult of an understanding? You might need someone that's played it before to kind of teach you along the way. So I'll let you go ahead and take it. What do you think? Is this game a game that's easy to understand, or will you be able to understand it while reading the rules?
So again, this is coming from me, who this actually was my first big game, and I was able to sit, open up the rulebook, not knowing anything about what deck building meant, or what this term meant, and I was able. It took me a couple days, but I was able to sit and actually teach myself this game straight from the rules. I didn't have to look up a video or anything. I was able to sit and learn it. And I think the good part about this game is so much about the Lost Ruins of Arnak rule set makes sense on a thematic level. So things just intuitively make sense because it's so inherently tied in with the theme. So there's like stuff that you do I remember as I was actually teaching myself this game and it would come to something new I would have to do, in my head I'd be like, oh, you know what? That actually makes sense, because if I was exploring, like, and somebody already explored that area before me, yeah, I wouldn't have to put in that time or effort because they already did that. So it actually makes so much sense as you're teaching the game on a thematic level that it really helps the mechanics just click really quick.
Okay, okay. So we would say a final answer is yes. This is since from
I
experience
would,
as well.
yes, I would say yes for
Okay,
sure.
perfect, awesome. So there you go. Well, off to a hot start. We're good. We love it. I love it. First game, easy to understand, and I would agree with you. I had Eric teach me how to play this game, but by the way, looking at the rule sense like that, it seemed like it was an understandable game to understand. Not too complicated. You know, you don't have 6,000 steps you have to do on your turn. You
Yeah.
know, just kind
Yep.
of simple A B C D or pass, and then you just keep moving on in the game. So definitely agree with you on that one as well. All right, we'll move on to the next question here. Is does this game have good game components? Now, questions 2 and 3 are kind of like the same, but I split them off a little bit. So question 2 is about game components, and then question 3 is about the design, like artwork or the pictures or how the way the components are
Okay.
designed. So the second question is game components. How are the game components are? What do you feel like are these? Do you think they took the time to make decent components? I know playing it, you know, you have your little artifacts and your resources are like nice little plastic pieces, or it could be a game where it's like, you know, it's just basic little cutout, you know, little punch out cutouts, and not much of it goes into the thinking of it. It's more about the mechanics of the game. But what do you think? Does this game have really good game components where it's like, oh, I like how they created this, or how it looks and stuff like that? Does it immerse you more into the game? But what do you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah, so I will say this about Lost Ruins of Arnak. All everything about the components feels really nice and high quality. Like the board is really nice thick cardboard. It even comes with those like nice like resin pieces, and everything in that regard I think is really really nice and well thought out. The one thing, and gamers always make fun of this game, they like to poke fun at it because even though everything feels really nice and high quality, there's zero insert, there's zero organization system to the game. So it's kind of a hot mess
Yep,
when
yep.
you pack it back up. And so it makes setup a little bit longer and less streamlined than it could be.
Okay.
So, I mean, I think as far as components and quality, it's totally there.
Hmm.
But it is missing that insert. So it does make storage hard.
Right. Okay.
So I don't quite know, I mean, where you want this to go.
Hmm.
But like I said, I think components are good, but it just, yeah, it
The
definitely
setup then.
needs some sort of organization system because it doesn't come with it in the base game.
Okay. Okay. Um, I'm kind of the same way with you though. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a messy game to put away. I mean, Eric has like this setup system and this thing that he organization, so that's him. But like, if we're just like a regular person playing this game, yeah, it might be a little bit messy. Um, it is a tough one, but I think, I mean, I'll chime in to maybe sway your mind here to go with yes, but I think the components are really nice, especially like the resources that you get, and you know, like the even when you're doing when you're exploring the temples, like you have your little hourglass and your little like journal book. I think those are really
Yeah.
nice. They're nice little wooden pieces, and not just like just a little you punch out a cardboard and just leave it there. Which nothing wrong with like, you know, punch out cardboard, but I like the component quality of it, how it's supposed to look, kind of. For me, I'm like, is this immersing me more into the game, or is it just like, oh, just a basic little picture? I think has a good game components, but I'll let you have the final say. Do you think
No,
is
I agree with you.
okay?
I think everything about the components are great. My favorite are like the red gems. The red gems are just beautiful in the game. I just
Yes.
absolutely love them. So,
Hmm.
yeah, and even the cards, like the cards have really good quality in and of
Hmm.
themselves. So, yeah, I think like in that regard, it's really, really a great put together game. Yeah.
Okay, which will lead us to the third question here of the design. How do you think the artwork is for this stuff? Do you
Oh,
think they took
so good.
it is even the box looks so beautiful,
Even
and
the box,
yeah.
like when you see it, it's the type of game that when you walk by somebody playing it, right? If you walk
Mhm.
by a table and they have it spread out on the table, it's the type of game that will make you stop and be like, "Wait, what's that?"
Mm.
Because it just looks beautiful on the table. Even the way that like the board is laid out, and you have those beautiful tiles on it that as they get flipped over, they reveal these beautiful, horrifying monsters underneath, and
Yeah.
it's just, everything about the artwork just pulls you into the game. Like I said, it just looks stunning on the table. So I think the artwork is 10 out of 10 for me.
10
I
out of
don't
10?
think they could have done better with the artwork. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
an easy yes for
Yeah,
me.
it's easy. No, I agree with that. Yeah, the design is nice. I mean, yeah, just the way the creatures are, the ancient beings that you're fighting, I think is so awesome. And
Yeah.
like, and even the item cards and things you have, it's just very adventurous, very immersive, and I love it. Yeah, I agree with you. Yes, 100% yes on good game design here. So we're good. We're three for 8 right now.
Three
So
for, yeah, we're doing good.
we're chugging along. Here we go. So let's go with the fourth question. Here is, does this game have good replayability? Is this a game that you can play and it's not gonna get old quick? It's a game that you can, it'll keep it fresh each time you play, or is it a game where it's like kind of like Monopoly-esque, where it's the same thing and you're just going around in circles and buying properties and stuff like that? What do you think? Is this a game where, obviously, it's one of your favorite games, but as an intermediate game, it's a game where it's like if you get this game, you'll have a lot of fresh runs each time you play it with a new group or stuff like that. So what do you think?
I think that so there are some games that the game is just so big and so immersive that every time you dive into it, you can say, okay, I want to focus on this time and just really go hard on that.
Mhm.
Or I want to focus on this area or this area. Lost Ruins of Arnak for me, it almost kind of feels like that, but not to the point where it feels overwhelming. Because there are
Okay.
some times where I dive into this game and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go really hard with monsters. So I'm just going
Mm.
to focus on that this game. And then there's other games where I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to try to get a lot of artifact cards
Mhm.
and maybe focus on monsters a little bit, but kind of go more for artifact cards or more for the research track. So there is a little bit of that, not as much as in some other games. But for me, whenever I dive into it, especially based on your player count, it can really feel like a very different game every single time you play.
Okay.
And based on the things that are being revealed, because that main board area, those are different monsters and different locations every single time that are
That's
getting
right.
flipped over
That's
and
right.
revealed.
Yeah.
So that alone really kind of changes the puzzle and it changes the game. And then on top of that, the board is actually double sided. So on the other side of the board, that actually completely changes your research track, which then actually completely changes the way that you approach the island board.
Mhm.
So there is a lot of variability, in my opinion, just with the base game alone.
Yeah.
Then if you add in the expansions on top of that, that changes it even further, in my opinion.
Definitely.
So I would say yes.
Yes. Yeah. I agree with you. Yeah. You convinced me. That's a solid yes. Yeah. It is. I love games like that, replayability. Yeah. I always keep it fresh a little bit. And, yeah, the mechanics and the way turn orders is the same, but the way you're playing the game throughout, you're going to have a different experience each time you play,
Yep. The way
Okay.
you take those mechanics and dive into the game, yes, the mechanics are the same, but the way you're diving into it and those
Mhm.
buttons that you're pushing, throughout the game, it really does change.
Next question here is, you kind of alluded to it at the beginning with the game components, but does this game have a good setup time? How is the setup time? How is it setting up? Now, with this question, being that I don't own the physical copy of the game. What I like to do if I do have the game is for these episodes is I like to time myself. So like I'll set up like a time, and then just take it out. What I do is I take it out of the box as if this is my first time ever playing the game. So I'm looking at the components, I'm reading word for word the setup guide on the rule sheet. Like, okay, what do I do here? What I set up, and I just time myself to see how it is. Unfortunately, I didn't have the game, but I did ask Eric again. Shout out to Eric again for he did it for me. He did a time study of that, and he concluded that it's roughly about like a 20-minute setup time,
Yeah.
setting things up and stuff like that. Which, me personally, that is not a bad setup time at all. That's nice and quick. You can just set it up compared to like some of my other heavier games that I have, like Twilight Imperium. I need like half a day to set up before anyone can come in.
Yeah.
Or like or some of these other games, Mage Knight or some of these games. I need some time to set this up, and so. He came up with 20 minutes. I mean, if you feel like that's maybe too long of a setup time, we can make this a no, but it's up to you. What do you think of
Yeah,
setup
I
time?
would. So I would say that setup time is about 15 to 20 minutes. I think I probably err more on the 15-minute side, but that's because I can typically just set up the game really quick because I really quickly kind of know where everything
Hmm.
goes.
Hmm.
Having said that, if you don't have an insert, I think the setup time is longer, and I think
Okay.
it's harder, kind of more of a pain to set up because you're kind of digging through the box.
Hmm.
You've got bags everywhere.
Mm.
So I would probably say, yeah, it's a longer setup. Um, For this question, was it like a yes or a no? Because if it's like a no, I would probably give this one a no for
I
setup. It's
know.
not
Okay.
it's not the easiest game to set up
No, for
if
sure.
you don't have an insert, which
Hmm.
inherently doesn't come with a base game.
Okay, okay. So yeah, if we're looking at mostly base games, then yeah, we'll probably make this a no question. But if you get the inserts, you can speed up that setup time.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, we'll make it a no here. We'll add a little bit of spice to these questions here, so no,
Add a little bit of
a
spice.
little bit less. Like we
It
gotta make
can't
sure
be
we're working.
perfect.
Yeah, right. You can't get an 8 out of 8. That's an ultimate top shelf game. So yeah, so no on setup time, but like a very low no because it depends on if how quickly you can set it up or how much of organizations you get with the game. If you get the inserts or if you find some other way, you make your own inserts and create it. But then that's more time because you now got to go get the inserts and stuff.
You gotta go to the insert.
Yeah, yeah. And so, so we'll go with no on this on setup time. It's a little bit on the longer side, but that's all right. We'll keep going. We keep going here. We got 4 questions out of the 5 right now. We're out of the 8 right now. So let's go with number 6. The question is this game decently priced, or is it going to break your wallet if you go to the store and buy it right now? I have right now up here pulled up some websites of the game that's being sold. When I say decently priced, for me personally, I think a good decent game is like from $30 to like $80, $70, $80 range. I think that's a good decent game where it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'll buy it. I'll go ahead and buy it. So obviously some of the heavier games, the Awaken Realm games or any of these other bigger games, yeah, they're gonna cost more. But again, it's like, what are you getting for that price? What are the components you're getting for that price? What's going on with that? And so, looking up at these websites, I'm looking. This game's averaging about like $50. Like on Amazon, it's like $50. I'm seeing it, yeah, $40, $50. It's not too bad. So I think it's a decently priced. What do you think? Do you think this game is a decently priced game, or do you think you might have to think a little bit, maybe save up a little bit for this game, or is it a game where it's like yeah, it's a fairly good price for that game?
I think it's a great price for the
Okay.
game.
Okay.
And especially, I feel like oftentimes I will pull it up online just because I'm always kind of aware of the prices of games or whatnot. And
Hmm.
oftentimes I find it for like on sale, like below 50. Oftentimes
Hmm.
find it, we're kind of right within that 45 dollar range, even $40
Hmm.
range.
Hmm.
And I think that's fantastic for the game that you're getting because it is a meaty game. There's lots of
Yeah.
choices that you're getting. There's a really good experience that comes with it. So I think for the price, and I think part of the reason why it is on the lower end is because it doesn't have an insert. That's one of the reasons why it is. They were able to bring it down a little bit because of that.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, I think it's a fantastic price for the game that you're getting. Absolutely.
Completely agree with you. Yes, definitely agree. Yeah, especially if it's on sale.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful game for that and stuff like that. Okay, so yeah, so we'll go with yes on that one here. All right, so let's go with the 7th question here. So we're looking pretty good. We're looking actually, I think it might pass if unless we get these next 2 wrong, then
Oh
we might
no.
we might not get.
Oh,
But
no.
but I think the way we're tracking, I think it's going to be yes questions here. But who knows? You might have a hot take on these questions. So next question is: does this game have good game lore? Does this game immerse you into this world that we're playing? Is this a game that is telling a story of why we're playing this game? What is it? Well, are we taking on a role of someone? How the RPG elements? How Skyrim is, where Skyrim takes you into this world of
Yeah.
you're this person. So is this game a game where you can dive into the lore, or is it a game where like it just tells you a story in like a paragraph of the rule set and then that's it, and you're like, all right, whatever, you don't care about it. What do you think? What do you think? This game?
So, yeah, so one of the reasons why I love this game so much is because of that story element. So, like when you first get the game, you obviously get the rule book and it kind of has an explanation about what's going on. You've been trying to find this island, and then all of a sudden, through the mist, you start seeing this island come through, and this could be it. Like, this could be the island where the Lost Ruins of Arnak are at. So you get to the island, and that's kind of where the game begins, right? As you're starting at base camp, right at the beach, and you're going out and trying to explore this lost island. But what's interesting is that the story doesn't stop there. As you go and you play this game, there are instances and stuff that comes in that just makes for great table talk and great, like for example, when you conquer, or when you, what's the word? It's not conquer, but whenever you get appease like the monsters that are
Oh.
guarding the locations,
Mm-hmm.
you actually can claim those monsters, and lots of those monsters give you different abilities or whatnot. And
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite things is there's a couple monsters in there that when you claim them, they give you an ability to quote unquote kind of like use them, like
Mm-hmm.
ride them
Yeah,
basically,
yeah,
and you can use them actually like as in place of a wagon,
yeah.
right? And so it's like I was able to befriend this giant spider, and now he's letting me hitch a ride on him further up. So I feel like the story actually does come through the gameplay, like while you're playing. There's multiple instances where, yeah, you get a card and you're able to use a card for something, and like the binoculars. I
Mm.
think the binoculars let you like spy things that are further
Mm-hmm.
further
Yep.
away, or spy items. And so
Right.
I really do feel the story in the gameplay, like when I'm playing this game. I really feel it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I feel like every single time I play this game, I'm like it feels like I'm in another episode or another movie of Indiana Jones. I'm like, this is the
It does.
adventure.
It feels like Indiana Jones.
Exactly. And I'm just like, all right, this is so cool. You're in this adventure and you're just like, you're playing this, you're looking for the lost ruins. Oh, now you're fighting these different guardians. Now you're trying to reach the temples. You're trying to do so like you're like finding all these like different things that are happening, and it's like a grand adventure, and yeah, it immerses you so much, and that's what I love about about like board games. I gravitate more towards immersion games, more games that like tell a story, and like just you can develop the story of like why you're playing this game, instead of like, all right, just roll 3 dice on this turn and then you do this and
Yeah.
it's
The more like abstract stuff. Yeah.
exactly. So I love more immersion. So easy, yes, like you could might agree with, yeah, it is a game full of lore, rich story, and yeah, you can always build off a good story. For even every play session, you could always build a different story of what you're trying to do here. So yeah, we'll go with yes on that one. We'll go with the final question here, which I think we're looking good. I mean, even if we get this one wrong, we still pass.
So
So
good.
we're looking here. So the last question is: does this game have good turn pacing or turn order? Is this a game where it keeps players that are not in turn involved or immersed or like kind of wondering what's going on, or is it a game where it's you can easily just like pull out your phone and just start like checking on your social media stuff while you wait for someone else to move or do something like that? What do you think? Do you think this is a game where like it keeps you engaged, or is it like, yeah, maybe on your turn you're kind of waiting around and doing a lot of things?
I think that's another reason why I like this game so much, is because turns are typically pretty fast. Now, having said that, if this is a resource management game, so there are times where you're like, okay, wait, I have to do this to then unlock this to then do this. Like you kind of have to plan out your turns a little bit more sometimes. So if you have like a game group that really struggles with AP, like yes, like or analysis paralysis for those of you who
Mhm.
don't know, analysis paralysis, where they
Yeah.
really kind of like get stuck in planning out moves and they just kind of take really long turns, then yes, this game could potentially go on forever.
Mhm.
But all the games that I've played, turns are really quick because you really just do pick one of the actions and then it's somebody else's turn. And you just keep going until you can't do anything else and then you pass. So it's not like you have to do step A, step B, step C, step D
Mhm.
all in your turn and then it
Mhm.
goes to somebody else. It's really just you do one thing and then it's the next person's turn. So for me, the game actually has a really good rhythm to it. It moves really good, even at the full 4 player count. There's many games where I refuse to play at that full player count,
Mhm.
but
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is one of the games where I won't. I'm happy to sit down and play this at that full player count
Right.
whenever, because it just moves at a really good pace. It doesn't drag on too long. It doesn't feel like it's taking forever.
Mhm.
It's just very quick and intuitive and it just works for me. So
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, I agree with you. It kept me engaged when I was playing. Yeah, usually if I find myself like reaching from a phone, I'm like, okay, this is a really slow paced game. Like I'm
yeah.
waiting around, and so, but like, this game kept me engaged. It kept me like thinking, okay, what's he doing? What is he going to go? Is he going to the location I'm trying to travel to? Oh, please do not go over there.
Yeah, if you're like, don't
Oh,
do it.
it's like, oh, now I got to rethink my strategy. I got to rethink. So yeah, this is a really good game that keeps you engaged, immersed, and yeah, you're right. If you have AP. It might be a little bit slower, but you can always just nudge him like, "Hey, bro, hurry up! Hurry up real quick.
Make your move. Make your move. Let's
Make
go.
move. All right, I got gold to find. I got treasures to find. I don't got time to be waiting for you over here. Definitely. Okay, so we'll go with the yes on that one. And that concludes all 8 questions. And we've only put 1 no on the setup time. So this makes it a 7 out of 8. So it passes. So Lost Ruins, guys, of Arnak is a top shelf game. Yes, I never had any doubt in my mind. I love this game. This game's a fun one. And it's such a good game. Guys, you guys should go check it out. Go to your local board game shop. Give this game a whirl. Or if you know anyone that has this game, go ahead and give it a try. See if you like it, and go ahead and get yourself a copy. I'll leave a link below as well if you want to go get yourself a copy for the holidays or New Year. But yeah, I believe this is a fun game. I mean, if I owned this game, it would definitely be on my top shelf as well, especially with the expansions.
The expansions is really what makes this game perfect. Like
Really?
without, and especially like the leaders. Like without the leaders, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. But with
Okay.
the leaders expansion, it's a 10 out of 10 game.
10 out of 10?
Just
Oh,
to
there
have
you go.
that additional asymmetric, like it's just so good. And
Go
I
ahead.
will say, well, I'll just say really quick,
Go ahead.
that this game, because there are lots of gamers out there that do play solo, and so this game does have a solo mode in
solo
it. So
mode, okay.
technically, you can play this game by yourself.
Nice.
But one step further is this game is actually on boardgamearena.com. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically it's an amazing online site that has tons of online games. So this game is on there as well. So you could, even if you don't have a group of people to play this game, you could go on there, just start a table. People will come, and you can play this game that way as well.
Shout out to Board Game Arena. You guys are awesome. And not sponsored by them, but hey. but hey, I'm here. I'll be your hype man all day for that. But yeah, you guys have a good check it out. Check out Board Game Arena. But yeah, so tabletop top shelf game for Lost Ruins of Arnak. I'm very excited that we got to do this episode. I'm very happy, Carly, that you got to join us to talk about Lost Ruins of Arnak and get to know you a little bit more and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I didn't have a shadow of doubt that this game wouldn't be a top shelf game because it's such a fun game, good replayability, good components. The setup time could be an iffy, depending on how you are with iffy stuff like that. But we got to be fair about it, especially with the new gamers and the intermediate gamers. So no on that one. But great components, great design, not a hard game to learn. And yeah, good lore, good immersion. So if you guys are looking for a good adventure game to play for 2 to 4 players, give it a shot. Or if you're just a solo player, it's another good game to play solo mode for. I think they have like a little mini campaign mode that you were explaining about. And then as well, Board Game Arena. Go ahead, check it out here and stuff like that. But we'll go ahead and round off this podcast here. Carly, I want to thank you again so much for just coming on this podcast. It means so much. I mean, it's like anyone that I have that's like I follow on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, like you guys are like celebrities to me. Like it's like, oh snap, like it's such an honor. Like, oh man, because I just see you guys through the posts and stuff like that. I'm just like, oh man, like I need friends like those. I need some friends like those.
Oh, stop it. We are friends. We are friends.
Let's go.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's my honor to be on this. Like, I can't even believe that you wanted me on your podcast. It's an honor for me. So thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it. No, I definitely appreciate that. Yeah, no, it's a huge honor. Anyone that I can talk to with board games all day, like you guys are like my best friends already. Like it just.
Oh
like,
yeah, I'm here for it.
Let's just hang out and play board games all day. Let's do it. But yeah, so before we close off, is there anything else? I'm giving you the floor to just plug anything you want to plug in. I know you had a couple projects that you're trying to create as well that you announced recently. I'd love to. Yeah. I'd love to put that on the description for you guys to go ahead and give it a follow. First of all, follow her as well. Do that first. In fact, just stop listening right now and give her a follow right now. Just do it, and then come back and then listen to her other plug. So go ahead and do that. We'll wait. Go ahead. No. But yeah, Carly, if you want to go ahead and plug anything else in, well, I'm going to leave it in the description below for everyone else for the whole world to give a follow. But yeah, go ahead.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know what there is, but I did just recently start the Honeycomb Club. So the Honeycomb Club is kind of like a sister channel to Board Game Buzz, and in it, it's kind of like a monthly, kind of like book club / game club. So every single month, I pick a book, or me or other fellow content creators. We pick a book and a game, both kind of with similar theming, similar ideas, and we just kind of highlight it and showcase it and for that entire month. And then at the end of the month, we'll kind of chat about it. So it's just kind of a way to highlight older titles, specifically board games, but also older titles or new titles and books. I just really wanted a way, because within the board game space, there's so much like new games, and there's always just that constant feeling of like needing to buy new games. And I really just kind of want to focus on older titles, step away from the FOMO a little bit, and kind of get you to focus on playing older titles that you own or that your friends own. And yeah, just kind of appreciate the games that we already have. So that's kind of what the Honeycomb Club is kind of supposed to be about. So yeah, so that's kind of my newer little side channel that I'm doing.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
yeah.
Okay, and is that, can they find that on are you guys on YouTube and Instagram,
yes.
or just
yes, I'm sorry, I didn't even mention that.
You're good.
That's on Instagram.
Instagram, okay.
That's just it's just the Honeycomb Club, I think.
The Honeycomb Club. Okay, no worries. Yeah, don't worry. I'll go ahead and get the links for you then.
Oh, perfect.
Post them up there. So give that a follow, guys. Yeah, the Honeycomb Club. Give that a follow, guys. If you're interested in what she was mentioning about, kind of going back to older titles and books and everything like that, which I mean, those are right up my alley as well. So I think I should be following you guys. If not, I'm gonna follow you guys right now. But I should be following you guys.
If you're not, I'm gonna judge you so much.
I know, for real. I'm just like, oh man, and that's the last time we heard of Carly on this episode. And
then I also wanted to give a shout out to my co-host Kim. She has her own little channel. I mean, she has a lot of different channels, so just go follow her in general. But yeah, her little channel is Beehive Banter, and she kind of does like behind the scenes stuff more. But she's amazing. She is so fantastic. She like her insights that she does over on the YouTube channel, like she's just so great. So yeah, Kim is amazing. Make sure to go follow her on all of her accounts that
I'll leave descriptions for accounts. Kim, you're awesome. I do follow a couple of your stuff that you do, and you're very awesome with the stuff that you're doing as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you guys have it. Go ahead and follow. The links are going to be in the description below. Give her a follow, and just let her know that I sent you guys. If this is the first time hearing Carly, let her know. Hey, Vic, I heard you guys from Vic. Let him know. Show the love, and for especially for all things board games and everything. Yeah, go ahead and do that, and also, a little bit of a shameless plug, but go ahead and give us a follow too if this is your first time ever listening. Yeah, we're on all socials, guys. We're on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts or watch podcasts here. First of all, if you're already following us, thank you so much for following us and interacting with us with the comments below and stuff. We love to interact and see those numbers go up. We just hit 100 subscribers on YouTube, so we're so excited. Yeah, let's go. So very, 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 very excited. Thank you guys for the support. But yeah, let us know. You can find us at Games You Must Pod. That is at Games You Must Pod on all socials. Or if you want to send us anything on email, you can send us an email at gamesyoumustpod@gmail.com. That is gamesyoumustpod@gmail.com. Let us know any recommendations you want us to do another top shelf or yard sale game. Let us know what we do. Or if you want us to talk about anything else, we'll go ahead and see if we can squeeze it in the podcast. Of course, I gotta have knowledge on it. I mean, I can't answer your calculus questions, because I don't know much about calculus. But if it's like board games or like video games, things like, I'd be happy to answer any questions for that. But once again, Carly, thank you so much for joining us here on this podcast. I'm looking forward to maybe doing some future podcast episodes. I'd love to pick your brain more on board games. Maybe do another top shelf yard sale game, or even let's talk about a Skyrim episode. Let's just go all about Skyrim.
Heck yeah, I'm here for it.
I'm super down. I'm very excited that again, so humbled that you got to join us here. Very excited, guys. Thank you guys
so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much, Carly. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the future. I'm definitely add you on Board Game Arena. We'll exchange names after the podcast. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, y nos vemos para la próxima.